What's going on, YouTube? I'm E, and this is Simply Put Scents. Today I want to talk to you guys about a fragrance that came out in the year 1985 by the house Tweed, and the fragrance is Green Irish Tweed. I've been looking very forward to doing this review. I want to thank really quickly my man A2 for adopting my channel. My man, thank you so much. I appreciate it. For also gifting me this fragrance. This fragrance community is extremely generous. It's just awesome. It's awesome. So anyway, I just want to thank you so much again, A2, for this amazing gift. Because of you, I've been able to do this review and test this fragrance on a much more in-depth level. And I owe that to you, my friend. So again, thank you so much. Back to the review. Now, Green Irish Tweed came out in 1985. So this is supposed to be a classy, old school fragrance. Now, usually in OG fragrances, you usually get a few characteristics. Usually they're big, bold fragrances. Very heavy in terms of notes. They are usually like 20 to 30 notes in every fragrance. These big, bad boy, old school, powerhouse scents, the style of the scent was always over the top.
They're piles of demonic, diseased crud!
Oh my God, that's so funny. Isn't it?
Now, Tweed likes to do things a little differently. They tend to make fragrances extremely simple. And in their simplicity lies the genius of their scents. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I do have issues with Tweed. I will discuss them at some other point. But what is undeniable is the execution of the scents they create. Green Irish Tweed is one of the most famous high-end scents ever created. But honestly, I would say in 1985, Green Irish Tweed put Tweed on a map to the more mainstream consumer of fragrances. That was a big deal for the brand of Tweed, and I think that catapulted a lot of other successes for the brand after it. If you notice, that fragrance was like the genesis of the brand in its modern style, in its current form, if you would say. Green Irish Tweed was their Michael Jordan, if you will. I've always liked this fragrance, and I've always appreciated the way it smelled, but due to how close it smelled to Cool Water by Davidoff, I've always felt a little underwhelmed by it, you know? I've always felt like purchasing it would not be like a priority, so to speak. Again, always a fan, but never really prioritize it as far as a purchase. So how does Green Irish Tweed smell? It's one of the truest, greenest fragrances I've ever smelled. The name Green Irish Tweed literally encapsulates within that first word what you're getting in this scent. It comes across fresh, clean, and while there's a serious side to this fragrance, the really cool thing about it is it's got a laid backness about it also. The smell of it kind of reminds me of like what you would get if you were like standing around a garden of like lemon verbena and violets, and you were surrounded by trees and it just finished raining. Like, it comes across extremely wet. Like, wet. Oh. I think that wetness comes from the ambergris in this fragrance, which lets itself be known from the start of the scent. It's wet, guys. What rounds the fragrance out is some beautiful sandalwood, which grounds the scent and adds a slight creaminess in the background to it. And it also adds a little sweetness to it also. At first spray, when you first spray this fragrance, it comes across extremely strong. Like, I mean, extremely strong. It will fill up a room. But after like the first hour and a half to 2 hours, it gets a lot closer to the skin, and it still comes across, it gets out there, but it's a lot more closer to the skin, and it basically rides it out for another 4 to 5 hours. So you're basically getting between 6 and 7 hours with this scent comfortably in its current form. When to wear. You can definitely get away with wearing this scent all year round. It could be definitely a signature scent if you've got that type of, you know. So for sure, it is definitely signature scent worthy. It could be worn at any time, any place, any situation, from work to casual situations, dates. Women like this fragrance a lot. It's very versatile, very, very versatile. But how I would wear this fragrance, guys, most in the spring and during wet weather. I feel like this fragrance really shines when it's raining, or after the rain, or before the rain. Whenever wetness is involved is when you want to wear this scent. It really works when it's raining, in my opinion. Uniqueness. Now, Green Irish Tweed is extremely unique if you consider it was made in 1985, and all the fragrances that have been really like kind of like hopping on came afterward. You know, Davidoff came, I think, 2 years after this in 1987. And then, to be honest with you, I think a lot of Carolina Herrera's fragrances have been inspired by Green Irish Tweed. Like, I smell Green Irish Tweed in 212. Green Irish Tweed has definitely been an inspiration for a lot of designer and niche fragrances. But I would consider it unique in that it was created at a time when there was not many fragrances that did what it did, if any. Very few fragrances that smell like Green Irish Tweed actually lives up to what Green Irish Tweed is doing. So that's just the bottom line when it comes to Green Irish Tweed. You can get a 120 ml bottle of Green Irish Tweed for around $180 if you look well, which is over 50% less than what you would pay for a retail. Retail, it goes for $425. In terms of value, it is kind of high. Around $180 at discounters, that's not that bad. When you consider that there's a Chanel fragrance that I will not name that's definitely nowhere near this level of quality and longevity and performance, and it's probably like $30 or $20 less when you add tax. So yeah, when you consider that and put it in perspective, it's not a horrible value, but it is, I would say, a purchase worth considering carefully. This is a compliment getting scent. This is one of Creed's more likable fragrances, in my opinion. A lot of people like this scent. And I think what makes it timeless, is its simplicity. A lot of times when things are simple, it's timeless. Negatives. Price. No getting around that. Creed hikes its prices every year, and from what I'm hearing, they're lowering the quantity of their scents. Going from 4.2 ounces to 4 ounces from what I hear. They lower their quantities, and yet people still buy more Creed. It's just one of those things. People just can't say no to Creed, guys. It's just, yep, over a barrel. Over a barrel. That's what we all are, guys. All of us who like this fragrance house, we're all over a barrel. I'll be honest with you. I have issues with this house. I think the price is a very, very problematic thing for me. However, I feel like if you can get it for discounted prices, it's not a bad go. But I would say the negative is the price. It's hard to really come up with other negatives for this scent. Some people might find that it's too green. The greenness might be a little overwhelming for some people. I mean, another thing is older bottles last a lot longer than newer bottles, so that's also another negative. Knowing that your bottles will steadily decrease in performance while your price tag for the fragrances steadily go up. That's very annoying and a negative in my book for sure. So guys, as you know, I like to rank fragrances in what I call the page rating system, and that is P for poor, A for average, G for good, and what? E for exceptional. So now, where does Green Irish Tweed by Creed land on the page? So guys, as I said before, simplicity is timeless, and so is GIT. A fragrance that, again, 32 years later, still can hang with fragrances made this month, last year, with no problem. Having never owned it until now, I can understand fully why it's considered a Creed classic. This is an extremely conceptual scent for Creed, if you think about it, guys. If you think about it, this is one of Creed's more artistic fragrances. People don't really give it that type of credit. Extremely conceptual, extremely green. Taking green to the extreme. To be so conceptual in that space, in that green, crazy space. To be that conceptual, it'll be so mass appealing. That's, I think, a huge feat for this fragrance. That's one of the reasons why I have no choice but saying that this fragrance is an exceptional scent. It's exceptional. There's no doubt about it. It's classic. It's a classic fragrance for a reason. It's an influence to classic fragrances for a reason. It's no game, guys. It's the king of green, I would say. It's the king of all green fragrances. Now, I wouldn't say it's the best smelling green fragrance ever made. No, I wouldn't say that. But I would say it's a standard. It's a standard. It's a titan within its genre, without question. It's probably the titan within its genre. I'm sure you can come up with a few green fragrances that if you put them back to back and smell them, they would probably beat this scent. But when you consider this fragrance is 32 years old and still relevant by a long shot, it's very, very difficult to say that this fragrance is anything other than exceptional. The king of green. You guys always come up with some really interesting thoughts, and it's always great to read your comments, guys. So let me read what you think. Guys, like this video if you appreciated it, and of course, subscribe to SimplyPut Scents if you haven't. I really would appreciate your support, my friends, all the time, every time. Thank you very much. Ahead of time. Guys, I'm E, and this is SimplyPut Scents. I'm Simply O-U-T. Peace. This reminds me of Ultra Mall. Wow. This reminds me of Ultra Mall, guys. Wow.